He's the shove-it man, oh he's the shove-it man. He's gonna shove it, yeah, he's gonna shove it, man.
Previously on the Shove It Show. This man is a lawyer and he confirms that the NWA board of directors is also gone, including Big Bill Behrens. From now on, any wrestler who doesn't follow Jarrett's orders, he is able to fire them without explanation. Randomly, Wildcat Chris Harris is the man to step up. David Young reveals that he is scared of clowns. He calls the old lady an old bag who's supposed to be taking tickets and doing nothing else. Borash is nothing but a stooge. And Tiny the Timekeeper's job is to be a fat, disgusting piece of garbage. Don fires the granny, the Timekeeper, and Borash. It all happened in a flash, but AJ Styles is now a tag team champion with Abyss. Great title reign, you red shirt Burks. Now get off the show. This is hot. It feels like a low-budget adult film. She starts screaming bedroom noises and reveals that she always faked it with Watts. Mike Tenay says he's just spoken to NWA and their final act in charge was to install a new TNA director. Alright, welcome back to the Sonny Siaki Show, aka the Shove It Show. I really enjoyed my NWA TNA review last time, so for once, I am not dreading this video. Today you're going to witness episode 81 and 82 of TNA from 2004, and your girl's a whore. The show starts up with a video package showing all the highlights of a wild Slapnuts appearance.
Jeff Jarrett.
It's actually hilarious. You can tell that he's the main character on this show. Tonight, it's a special of the World X Cup. I'm not sure how many teams are actually in this, but I've only seen Team Mexico and Team NWA, so maybe it's just the two. In the back, team captain of the NWA is interviewed. Scott Hudson criticises the selection and thinks that TNA could have put a better team together. Elix Skipper just keeps screaming it's our house. He does make a good argument. Juventuud Guerrera is captain of Team AAA. How did Essa Rios age 10 years in 3 years? That was my main thought because my Spanish sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. There's going to be some sort of wacky point scoring system to decide who wins the World X Cup. One of those matches will be up next as the Juice takes on Chris Sabin. The crowd only care about Guerrera. Sabin scores the first roll-up as they trade pins. They decide to shake hands and they do some wacky stuff to show that they're even. Juice doesn't want to be even with Sabin and he drop kicks him out of the ring. He eventually does a head scissors out of the ring. Sabin manages to cut off his dive and he springboards into the ring with a spinning heel kick. He moves on to hit a Russian leg sweep and a seated octopus submission hold. He gives up on that and gets a 2 count. Sabin can't stay in control because the Juice does some sort of mad Canadian destroyer type move. Somehow it's not over. He also does a springboard hurricanrana and also drops Sabin on his face. How is he still kicking out? The Juice is destroying him. He hits a 619 now. Finally, Sabin counters a springboard with an Alabama slam, quickly followed by a brainbuster for a 2. So many reversals now and so many pinning attempts. The commentary team acknowledges that he can't even follow this, it's just too fast. We get a double down after a bulldog. They're looking leggy now, but Sabin is still able to hit a powerbomb. Juice counters his next one into a pin as more pins are traded. This match dumps all over the feud with Shawn Michaels' cousin. Sabin now hits a move from the top which he calls the Sabin Edge. Yet another 2. There's the Juve driver. Sabin kicks out again, but the bell rings. Everyone is confused. The Juice wins. I think they messed up the finish, to be honest, which is a shame because that match was really good. In the back, Slapnut says tonight we will see who runs TNA. He wants to sign some more people to a loyalty contract. Shane Douglas walks in kissing his ass. He kisses it so much his lips get chapped. Douglas spends way too long explaining that he doesn't know who the new NWA Director of Authority is. Back in the ring, it's another X-Cup match. Hector Garza will take on Sonjay Dutt. Sonjay is someone whose inclusion is being questioned because he hasn't done that much in TNA. Garza gets started with a dropkick. Sonjay does a nice arm drag before getting smacked back down. Sonjay does manage to hit a big flip dive out of the ring which the crowd gets going for. The cameraman almost misses Garza hitting him with a dropkick mid-springboard. He's an idiot though and he breaks his own pin up so he can hit a powerbomb on a basement dropkick. Hector's playing with Sonjay like food and he eventually hits a catatonic. Sonjay managed to hit a suplex and almost falls over. His next move is countered and he's bounced off the ropes into a powerbomb. And then, Jesus, Garza finishes him off with an insane dive. Not as good as the last match, but still pretty good. In the back, Jerry Lynn worries about his team's chances. He says he's going to stop trying to wrestle a Yuta Libre style as it's not working for their team. Here comes Essa Rios, who was Mr. Aguilar at this point. Jerry Lynn the opponent. Lynn has the advantage in the opening stage with a monkey flip and an arm drag. Lynn gets Rios on the top rope and drop kicks him from the ring. He follows him out there with a diving hurricanrana. So much for changing your style up. Essa eventually gets Lin out of the ring and he hits a crazy flip dive over the turnbuckles. He brings Lin back to the ring with a lion salt for a 2. Essa does some crazy springing off the ropes into a slam now. Man, this is the Essa Rios we didn't get to see enough of in the WWE. I've kind of decided though, I am not going to put Essa Rios on TNA Ring of the Hawk. He's going to be on a lot of these TNA reviews going forward, and I feel like it's going to kind of ruin the surprise. Anyway, Lin hits a back suplex for a double down. Jerry starts a comeback as he hits a net breaker and a tornado DDT. His powerbomb is reversed into a Rios facebuster. Then I think Lin botches his power driver. He pretty much drops Rios on himself, but somehow that's the 3. That's 3 matches with 2 bad finishes. But the matches have all been fun, so don't get mad, I won't need to run. In the back, Jarrett meets with some more goons. Father James Mitchell hopes Jarrett will protect him as he got rid of Raven for him. Mitchell pledges to remove the final ECW guys from TNA. CM Punk is very sure that Raven will never show his face again in TNA. Jarrett is very sure that Mike Tenay is the secret director of authority in TNA. Up next, Abismo Negro takes on Elix Skipper. Very slow start to this one, it's not like the previous matches. The Power Ranger hits an enziguri of sorts as the pace of this match starts to increase. Abismo hits a brainbuster for a 2. Skipper responds with some insane athleticism to hit a moonsault for a 2 of his own. Skipper almost botches his rolling into the ring clothesline. Hopefully this match won't have a botched finish. Skipper puts him on the top rope and does the rope walk into a Hurricanrana. Abismo does his own Hurricanrana for a 2. Now he does a suplex. Abismo does some more suplexes of his own. You know what, Jerry Lynn was chatting absolute bird turd in that promo. If anything, Abismo Negro is the one wrestling a different style here. Abismo Negro randomly wins with a Mahi Star Cradle. These two did not have very good chemistry, and it was the worst out of the matches so far. In the back, the Mexican guys brag about their wins, or at least I think they did. I don't speak very good Spanish. Hit me with a brick. They keep saying that if Loki and Daniels had been on Team TNA, the result may have been different. I think this is going to take up the whole show, because apparently it's now round 2. It'll be a tag match with Juventuud and Abismo. Wow, harsh, he just had a match. They'll face Sonjay and Jerry Lynn. We're only halfway into the show and it's starting to get a bit boring. I want to know what the gifted cab drivers are up to, damn it. It seems to be the Juve show anyway. Can't argue with his booking in TNA, he looks like an absolute boss. It's hard to care after seeing this match 4 times in a row already. They even hit a lot of the exact same moves, so what's the point? 4 of these matches in a row was my absolute limit. Guerrera does an inverted Frankensteiner, which at least is something new. They do a double pin spot where the ref just completely ignores Jerry Lynn's pin, which actually started 5 seconds earlier than the other one. Fortunately, it isn't the finish of the match. Negro rolls through on Sonjay Dutt's Frankensteiner and gets a 3. Well, Sonjay is really looking like a weak link here. In the back, Skipper and Saban say they're in a bad mood as they've lost 5-1. Apparently, Slapnuts is unhappy. Well, he's always unhappy. Skipper says it's not over until the fat lady sings. He complains that Loki and Daniels weren't on his team. Yay, another World X Cup tag. Essa Rios and Hector Garza versus Skipper and Saban. Why did the morons at TNA decide to book it this way? It's getting seriously repetitive. I fell asleep and woke up to see Crisp Saban beating Hector Garza. End this now, please. In the back, Slapnuts threatens all the officials. They have pledged to be 100% loyal to Slapnuts. You can see where this is going, can't you? Jarrett thinks Scott Hudson knows who the Director of Authority is. He says Mike Tenay. For God's sake, go talk to him then, Slappy. This is the lowest of efforts I've ever seen to create a show. 8 wrestlers and a crap storyline about who the new DOA is. I was incredibly relieved to see Terry Funk stumble out, and not the sort of relief that I usually have with TNA that makes me go to the Slash show. He cuts a promo complaining about... I don't even know. He's moaning about being called a legend and how hard his life is. He moves on to promise that he'll bring Raven back to TNA. A 2-minute promo, unfortunately. Raven will be back on the next show. I bet Slapnuts was dumping in his nappy of anger. Then they randomly promised that Chyna will be on the next show. Surely not, I reckon she's going to no-show that. Otherwise that TNA appearance went completely over my hawk head. Reason to get through a boring show though. Mike Tenay shows off the World X Cup. This poor cup. How many times did TNA repurpose this cup over the years? Anyway, it'll be the same 4 guys versus the other same 4 guys fighting for the same cup that it always is. But this time it's an elimination match. TNA are down 5-3 in the scoring, so a pretty big disadvantage. Let's get through this one as quickly as we can, just by covering the eliminations, as I can take no more of this and I'd be happy to never see any of these people again. The first elimination is Sonjay Dutt when Garza drops him on his face and hits a standing moonsault. So now Team TNA need a clean sweep or something for the rest of this match. Straight after, Skipper submits Abismo Negro. Shout out Garza hitting a crazy corkscrew dive out of the ring. He misses a moonsault though and Sabin puts him away with a cradle shot. Shawn Michaels' cousin Michael Shane watches on, that's all we need. Essa Rios hits Skipper with a shooting star and he's done. Okay, apparently it's 2 points for an elimination, not 1. Sabin also hits Hoover with a cradle shot for just a 2. Probably a good thing because his shoulders were never even down. Juice misses a 450 but he lands on his feet and then he beats Chris Sabin with his own damn finisher. How is TNA still in this thing? I swear the scoring doesn't make any sense. Straight away, Jerry Lynn puts away Essa Rios with a devastating move and predictably we're down to the captains. Juve hits him with a Juve driver and that's that. Surprisingly, Team AAA win the Super X Cup. Slapnuts interrupts the Mexican celebrations. He's in a foul mood. He demands to speak to Mike TNA. Man, can you imagine if Jarrett and TNA had a match after all their history together? Smack him one, TNA. TNA says he doesn't know who the new DOA is and he's sick of Slapnuts treating him like this over the years. He says he flies from Las Vegas every week for the love of TNA and that should prove his dedication. Slappy threatens to fire him. TNA screams and squares up to him. Sadly, this is the highlight of the show so far. Jarrett fires him, which leaves TNA panting and sweating. He leaves the building in a depressed state. This is like when Triple H feuded with Jim Ross. Slappy smiles with happiness and that's how it ends. I enjoyed the show at first, but the idea to have the entire cup over one show was a bad idea. It got repetitive seeing the same guys over and over again, and there was only really one storyline throughout the show. Let's check out our second episode today, which should be better. Well, as it turns out, the World X Cup is not essential viewing in terms of following the TNA storylines. You can almost completely skip it and still understand what's happening on the Shove It show. What is happening is that we seem to have Scott Hudson replacing Mike TNA on commentary. The show starts with, you have got to be kidding me. The Four Friends. Why are they still a team? The cup is over. They're taking on Shark Boy, Jason Cross, Roddy Strong, and Jimmy. Don't let him near a Mike Rave.
It's Jimmy Rave, and I'm ready to get this match over with so we can party! Woo!
But I had to figure all of that out for myself because the commentary team don't even acknowledge the Jobber Tag Team. Jason Cross is always a lot of fun, like a lesser version of AJ Styles. Sabin and Jimmy Rave have a fun exchange. They clearly have great chemistry. Sabin throws Dutt on top of him for a 2. Cross hits one of his special backbreakers on Dutt. Jesus, look at this move to get into a pin from Dutt. It's moves like that which is why TNA had high hopes for him. We get dives to the outside with pretty much everyone flying through the air like the Hawk, except Shark Boy. He rarely flies. Instead he hits a deep sea drop on Sabin. Skipper hits him with a catatonic. Strong hits a neckbreaker and Dutt dives on him with a hurricanrana. Fun match this one. It's nice to see some new guys on the show. The camera misses Chris Sabin's dive out of the ring. Jerry Lynn stops the crossfire and does the cradle pile driver to Cross for the 3. The celebrations are broken up by the Slapnut squad. He hits Jerry Lynn with his guitar. Jarrett fires Jerry Lynn and says Skipper is the new captain of the X Division. Whatever that means. Jarrett proclaims that there is no new director of authority and he is the only one with power. Slappy turns his focus to Chris Harris, who cut a promo on him 2 weeks ago. Jarrett's going to give him a match tonight to prove how worthless he is. In the back, the new franchise are being boring. Shane Douglas says he's a legend in wrestling and he's a bad man. He wants Michael Shane to show everyone what he's made of tonight. Shawn Michaels' cousin is scared because he'll have to go out there on his own tonight. Randomly, he says Ron Killings will get his ass franchised. Chris Harris grabs the mic to a huge crowd cheer. He says he'll show everyone that Chris Harris is the better man tonight. Oh, well, here he comes. Shawn Michaels' cousin, Michael Shane. Wait, he's not even on his own. He has Tracy Brooks with him. Talk about stupid TNA mistakes. Douglas clearly said that he'd have to go out there on his own tonight. Anyway, Truth dominates Michael Shane. He has a sit-out hip toss and the splits into the kicks. Truth starts thrusting at the crowd and nails a power slam. Michael Shane stops a weak scissors kick attempt with a double leg into a figure 4. It doesn't really hurt Truth, who comes back with the lie detector and he does now hit the scissors kick. Shane Douglas attacks Conrad at the Spanish announce table, which distracts Truth, who stares like a gorm, and Shane almost rolls him up. Ron the Truth hits a suplex into a stunner. Tracy Brooks tries to dive with the pie on the sky, but Truth catches her and she's powerbombed. Michael Shane manages to drop toe hold Ron the Truth into Tracy's cast. Sweet chin music connects, and Michael Shane, yes, Michael Shane has beaten Ron Killings. Give me a break. Jarrett's Goon Squad meet backstage. Kid Cash is laying down the law. The Red Shirts say they'll win the match tonight and celebrate this by beating up Kid Cash. The promo suddenly becomes hilarious. The gifted Glenn Gilberti, how is he gifted, says that tonight they will have a street fight, which is their speciality match? Since when? But the issue is that the cabbie is scared of clowns. He's so scared that he can't wrestle tonight and Kid Cash has to take his place. Here they are then, the red shirt Burks. Who remembers when these guys were the TNA Tag Team Champions for 1 week? They take on Dustin Rhodes and El Leon. Imagine paying for this one. Dustin hits one clothesline and tags out, which prompts Don West to tell us just how impressed he is with that. With what? El Leon power slams Northcutt for a 2. Dustin gives Legend an atomic drop. The Burks are thrown out of the ring, but for the first time, there's no one really capable of hitting a dive. Legend finally managed to hit Dustin with a kick. They keep cheating and Legend throws Dustin with an overhead suplex. Northcutt hits him with a diving elbow for a 2. Dustin back body drops Legend and tags El Leon, but somehow the ref didn't see the tag. Northcutt smashes his nutsack. Hey, it's all fair in love and war. Dustin's been smashing dudes in the nuts for years. Question, why is Dustin struggling so much with these jobbers? He's isolated for ages whilst I feel rage bubbling up inside me. Finally, El Leon has the tag. He crushes Legend with a spinebuster and super kicks Northcutt. The pin is broken up. The Lion spears Legend and looks to set up for something, but Northcutt returns. They have a miscommunication and El Leon pins Legend with a Uranagi. Well, thank God for that. The Naturals rush the ring once again like they have been lately with Powder. Leon fights them off with a chair. Why does one of the Naturals look like a twin of Chris Harris? In the back, it's Father James Mitchell and the Gathering. Mitchell says Raven won't be here tonight. Punk's promos continue to improve. He's actually very good at this point. He hopes Raven is here tonight so he can kick his ass. Raven's been missing from TNA for 2 months. In the back, the Red Shirts argue with Kid Cash until Jarrett hits Legend with a guitar. Jarrett swears that nobody will be feuding amongst his troops. Northcutt is now given a choice. He can either side with Jarrett or side with Legend. Just get rid of them both. Well, I've got some brilliant news for you all. That, my little friends, was the final match of the Red Shirt Security in TNA. My day just got so much better, and I ain't even seen your girl yet. Who are these 2 people in the ring? God knows, but they introduced Johnny Fairplay. It turns out this is an incredibly strange segment. He says he was supposed to bring Chyna out tonight, but she's no-showed. What a surprise. Apparently she would only come if she could have first-class airplane tickets, but nobody in TNA has them. She also wasn't allowed creatine backstage. Then randomly Fairplay says she wanted a picture of Triple H, but his nose wouldn't fit on the picture. What's bigger, Triple H's nose or Chyna's Adam's apple? Okay, he's completely destroying her for no reason. He makes fun of her failed music career. He calls her record crap and says he'll sue her for no-showing. He also wants to sue Simon Diamond, Brian Urlacher and AJ Styles. He calls AJ Styles a trailer-dwelling hillbilly. This brings AJ out to the ring. I forgot AJ was now the tag team champion alongside Abyss. AJ screams boo at him, which makes Fairplay soil his knickers. Abyss jumps AJ on the ramp and this has turned into a match. The winner of this one will be allowed to choose their tag team champion partner. AJ and Abyss are another 2 who have really good ring chemistry. Nothing AJ does has much effect until AJ does a Hurricanrana and clotheslines him out the ring. AJ almost misses a springboard dive. Abyss wakes up in the ring and hits a pretty scary looking press slam. Abyss looks to chokeslam him through the table on the outside, but AJ just about escapes and he kicks Abyss down. He soon knocks Abyss down again with a kick. They sort of botched the springboard inverted DDT, but it doesn't look too bad. AJ gives Abyss a Pele kick on the top rope and snaps off the Frankensteiner. That's a 2. Styles now brings the table into the ring. They briefly ignore that and AJ almost rolls up Abyss from a chokeslam attempt. AJ does look to put Abyss through the table, but then Jarrett makes the save. He gives AJ a stroke. Abyss tries to slam AJ on the table, but somehow it doesn't break. So Abyss climbs up to the second rope and dives with a splash just as the table collapses a bit too soon. You could see that one coming for miles. It was just such perfect timing. Or terrible timing, depending on what way you look at it. Chris Harris runs them off a little too late. So AJ wins the match by DQ, and now he should be able to choose his own tag team partner, right? Well, there's no mention of it. In the back, the New York numpties are still pretending that one of them isn't secretly associated with Jeff Jarrett. Johnny Swinger swears blind that he hasn't signed allegiance to Jeff Jarrett. The Diamond Man vows to find Kid Cash's clipboard so he can inspect it and get this settled. The KID out to the ring now alongside the gifted Glenn Gilberti, how is he gifted? They're going to have a street fight against the Insane Clown Posse. They have a long entrance hanging out in the crowd with the Juggalos. Violent J eventually hits a Death Valley driver on gifted Glenn with Cash breaking it up. Gilberti hits a Russian leg sweep and they also slam Cash on top of Violent J. They cripple him with a spear and a clothesline, but Shaggy returns with a missile dropkick, one leg for each guy. The ICP double team Gilberti a couple of times, they even hit a double brainbuster to Cash. Violent J sets him up for a moonsault, which he lands. Shaggy also wants to dive, but he misses it. The cabbie appears with a chair. Shaggy promptly kicks it back in his face. Too Tough Tony brawls with the cabbie. Eventually, Cash annoys the referee too much, who pushes him over into a pin. That gets them the free. The bad guys beat up the referee, and David Young even gives him a cab driver slam. It can't be over, he's a referee. Diamond and Swinger eventually save the referee, and Diamond has the clipboard. He finally gets to read it and sees that Swinger did indeed sign allegiance to Jeff Jarrett. I called this about a month ago. They all beat up the Diamond Man and everybody's happy. I can't wait to see Diamond and Swinger feuding. How exciting that's going to be. Goldilocks is threatening Eric Watts when Mike today randomly walks in and takes the cameraman with him. Here comes the gathering, but will the man called Raisin show up? Terry Funk heads to the ring first, and yes, Raven is here with a new look too. The gathering use weapons trying to get the advantage, but Raven looks fresh. Raven does a new submission across the ropes to Punk. Terry Funk is smashed to pieces only a few minutes in. Punk gives him a backbreaker and suddenly the match resembles a normal tag match. Punk says Terry Funk ain't shit. Julio De Niro devastates him with a twisting fisherman suplex. His ass drop is countered though when Funk gets his knees up. Tags are made and Raven looks energised and refreshed from his long break. He gives CM Punk a snot rag and the gathering get a bulldog clothesline combination. Raven and Punk fall out of the ring and Terry Funk starts doing a Kiwi roll. Punk breaks that up. Raven superkicks him and hits the Raisin effect to De Niro for the free count. The good times don't last for Raven though because the gathering attack him. James Mitchell has a taser. He wants to use it on Raven, but Funk uses himself as a human shield. And that, my friends, was the final match of Terry Funk in TNA. In the back, Scott D'Amore makes his TNA debut on the dance floor. He says the World X Cup was so successful that they're going to do it each year. He criticises Jerry Lynn and Team TNA and calls them all losers. In the second America X Cup, he'll be bringing Team Canada to face Team TNA. I see where this is going. Raisin is in a poorly mic'd room complaining about Father James Mitchell. Raven says the old Raven is now awoken. He also wants Jeff Jarrett's title. Raven's going to bring a new partner in next week and that'll be Sabu. Just the main event now. Kind of a big deal for Chris Harris. James Storm is out injured in case you're wondering what's happening. The match won't be for Jarrett's title. Chris Harris hits the first big move, a delayed vertical suplex. He slingshots himself out of the ring onto Slappy. This quickly resembles any standard Jeff Jarrett match with brawling around the ring and the use of chairs. Jarrett puts him in the figure 4 in the middle of the ring, but can't make him tap out. Harris does have his moments in this one, perhaps the full Nelson slam was the closest he came. Anyway, ref bump and the stroke. But no, it doesn't end the match. Harris dodges a belt shot and hits the spear for a 2. Yet another 2 off a power slam. Slapnuts is a resilient bugger. Chris Harris nails the catatonic when Kid Cash climbs onto the apron. He tells the referee if he counts to 3, Jarrett's going to fire him. Jesus Christ. Harris doesn't care and he nails a top rope leg drop. Once again, Kid Cash reminds the referee that he'll be fired. Harris and the referee start having a heart-to-heart. He shouldn't have bothered because Jarrett smacks Harris with the belt and that's the 3. What a bunch of bullshit. For some reason, Slapnuts is very proud of this win. He's interrupted by Mike Tenay on the ramp. Tenay says that he's been rehired by the new Director of Authority, and the new Director of Authority is Vince Russo. The show goes off the air. I called that 2 weeks ago. The show certainly felt like Russo was back. Not really a good show. Jarrett was truly out of control here. I think despite that, Chris Harris came away from that one looking great. AJ Styles feuding with Abyss is not a bad thing, and Team Canada are on their way. Yeah, the show is improving, and if you don't agree with that, I'll get your girl moving.